Alright guys, we return once more to more Misericorde. Hedwig is younger than I am, so no. Bold of you to admit. Not as biting as the second time. Charity got hers first because she is our beloved and respected elder. Margaret got second since she asked so nicely. Hedwig was next because she is a new guest and would have been second if Margaret hadn't requested so forcefully. Sorry, Hedwig. No offense taken. Next, I don't know. Why not Adela? There you are. I very graciously will go last as I'm pouring the drinks. Which leaves Flora and Angela, which, let's see. I'll give Flora hers first to prove once and for all that I am not discriminating against her youth. I only hope that Angela will accept this decision and not see it as a slight against her. I assure her there is no such ulterior motive. Can you just give us the fucking wine? Language! She finished pouring the drinks and passed them to Flora and Angela, neither of whom looked particularly amused. Margaret was thoroughly enjoying herself though. Thank you. Indeed. Now Hedwig, tell us what you think of this wine. It's a fair bit nicer than the stuff we typically have throughout the day. Has real flavor. I took a tentative sip and was surprised to find that I recognized the taste instantly. Oh, I've had this before actually. How? Oh dear. I couldn't say actually. But I'm sure someone must have brought it to me with a meal at some point. Perhaps on Christmas? Oh yes, that sounds like something Catherine II might do. She knew her wines, that one. She knew more about it than most here do, yes. Are you and Marta still fighting about the sherry? I came here to do a job. I have nothing against Sister Marta, but I wish she would let me do it. I know. I can't do anything about that though. Adela huffed and nodded, sipping her drink. This is good. Not as good as I could help make, but it is very good. What's different about sherry, Sister Adela? Don't get her started. It is better fermentation process. The end product is sweeter. That's hard to believe given what I tasted. I mean, I do believe you, just, it should not be tasted halfway through being made. Does the painter show their client their work before they have painted a face? Does the chef deliver a half-cooked meal? She's got a point. Of course, I'm more just impressed. I was asked to come here and help shepherd a batch of sherry. The first one was a complete disaster because instructions were not followed. Now I'm trying to correct this for the second batch and I'm facing the same resistance. Marta is very protective of her work. I think she does not like me. I think she does not want some Iberian dirtying up her project. She stuck her finger into her drink and violently wiggled it around to emphasize her point. I had to duck to dodge flecks of wine. I promise you it isn't as bad as all that. She's just... I think it might be exactly as bad as that. She has no other reason to get in my way. She treats me like a child too. It might just be an age thing. Ha! I very much doubt it. She does not see me as Spanish. Marta doesn't treat you any differently than anyone else, does she? Ah, crumbs. No, it's fine. It's just that if I say no, that might not actually indicate what you're hoping it does. Charlie looked as if she were trying to decode a particularly difficult puzzle. Margaret smiled, perhaps humorlessly, and sipped her drink. Have you seen any more ghosts, Hedwig? Ghosts? Oh no, I have not. I feel like the ghost talk around here has dropped significantly recently. Hedwig's goat-hating swordsman excluded, of course. Thank goodness for that, it's all rubbish. Oh, I don't know about that. You don't get to be my age without seeing a few queer things here and there. I've seen some ghosts. There's at least one on this floor alone, I reckon. Yes, I have heard them too. It's a shame Darcy isn't here. She always has plenty to say on this subject. Well, you can ask her when she brings the beef. Perhaps out in the hall, where the rest of us won't be subject to such nonsense. I seem to recall somebody asking for an escort to the privy at night just in case she encountered something. That's just common wisdom. That has nothing to do with spirits or fairies or any such fantasy. There are bears or strange men. Bears? Yes, bears. There are bears around here? No, absolutely not. Not that I have ever seen. I've seen a bear up close once, but that was before I ended up here. I have too. They are very cute, but quite dangerous. At any rate, there are no bears anywhere near here. They don't live in England, or Scotland, or Ireland. I cannot believe I am being treated like a fool for worrying about bears whilst you all entertain the notion of ghosts wandering our halls. Well, if they don't live here. Not naturally, of course, but kings and nobles and other rich men keep them for sport. They import them from Bohemia. So, you think some nobleman is gonna sick a bear on you while you're on your way to the toilet? That's a good question. Really? You are trying far too hard to make me sound hysterical. Bears are strong and crafty creatures. One could easily slip loose and escape into the woods. It only takes two to proliferate. You cannot tell me that has not happened. There was nothing but silence for a moment. Then suddenly, everyone erupted with laughter. Bears. Proliferating. Watch out. And they cannot stand women pissing at night. Grow up. You. Ho ho. You must admit, Angela, it sounds a bit ridiculous. Far-fetched, at least. I love this conversation already. It's so nonsensical, but it works so well in this room they're in. The Misericorde. It is nonsense, Angela. I am surprised. I had no idea you were worried about this. Well, I apologize for not wanting to risk being torn in half by a vicious beast or violated by some murderous cur at night. After all, only half of these things happened here, so why worry about either? Angela. Not in here. No, I think there's no better place to talk about it. The silence came back. This time, it felt like the very air had been sucked out of their already stuffy room. Everyone was looking in different directions. I could hear heavy, deep breaths. Time for meat. Adela stood up first and strode over to the door, unlatching it and holding it open so that Darcy could limber in, carrying a massive platter of food. Everyone sort of shuffled awkwardly to move the cups and wineskin out of the way. Darcy plunked the platter down and dusted her hands off the satisfied expression on her face. You have beef and lamb and a bit of pork here, coated in the special sauce and cooked to perfection over a roaring fire by yours truly. Wow. Why is everybody so glum? We're just hungry, Darcy. Thank you. Darcy's nigh impervious smile flickered just a little. Alright then. Enjoy. Aren't you gonna have some? Oh, I'm not allowed. Not outside of the Misericorde, no, but you're here now. Even seeing Darcy's mouth twitch was heartbreaking enough that I felt compelled to do whatever I could to make her feel better. Luckily, she took my logic quite well. I suppose I am, aren't I? There are too many people in here. Oh, for Pete's sake, Angela. You go and stand outside while she eats then. Angela's chair scraped violently against the stone floor. I couldn't help but wince. She can stay. Have a good night, everyone. A touch dramatic, Sister Angela. Hedwig? Yes, and Sister Angela? Nothing. Not now. I won't spoil your evening. With that, she swept herself out of the room. All eyes turned to Darcy, who was blissfully munching on a small piece of meat hanging off a bone. Oh, I couldn't possibly say sorry. Busy tonight. She finished her snack and then licked her fingers. Enjoy. Have a good night, Darcy. Indeed. Darcy excused herself from the room. Margaret followed behind her to lash the door shut again and then turned around to face the rest of the sisters. Well. Should one of us flag Eustace down, perhaps? She is also busy tonight. Hedwig and I stopped in on her on the way here. Moira? Marta? Moira's probably asleep by now. Well, it's one of those two. Or the soup. Could you imagine? Where's Moira at the moment? I believe she's usually in the library or reading in her dorm at this hour. She'll be in her dorm then. Eustace seemed in no mood for visitors. Flora, would you be a dear? I just started eating. I'm only asking you to go down the hall. The food will still be here when you get back. Will it? I've seen you lot eat before. Now? Cheeky little. I'm going. This was certainly not as relaxing as I had been led to believe. That being said, I was still feeling surprisingly confident. I think perhaps I was even finding some relief in the fact that this particular spat had unfolded without me at the center of it. In fact, I was barely involved in the kerfluffle at all. Kerfuffle. That's a word. Charity forced a smile. Well, best not let things get cold. There was a murmur of approval from the others. We all moved their chairs slightly closer to the overflowing platter of sugared meat. I do not understand why Angela is so cruel. I am positive she has gotten worse as well. She's always been an insufferable coxcomb. That's a word. That's another one I never heard before. A coxcomb. Must we drag it all out? She's left. No use quarreling with someone who's not even here. To be fair, Charity, Hedwig is here because Angela overheard you two grousing about her. Yes, well, that's different. It's not fair if you get to have all the fun. Well, I was under the impression that Angela wanted to come tonight to apologize to Hedwig for her behavior. Ha! That does seem a bit far-fetched. No, it's true. I apologized to her for my outburst, and she agreed to apologize to Hedwig for her roughness. Is that true, Sister Charity? This did stretch credulity, but I was curious. Angela's barbed words had wrapped around me so tightly, even the slightest bit of slack was a relief. Of course. On condition that you also apologize, I think. A fresh start for all of us. I have nothing to apologize to that woman for. Well, not a thing. Well, if she wants an apology, I'm obliged to hear what she has to say and do my best to make amends. Catherine's upper lip curled harder than I'd ever seen it curve before. She'll hang whatever complaint she has over your head for the rest of your life, apology or no. Believe me, I've been there. Really? Oh yes. I've done that song and dance for her. She just enjoys watching people squirm. How cruel. She wasn't always like this. I do not care. It's true though, it's a shame. What happened? If I knew things might look a little different. It has certainly gotten worse since Catherine II passed on. That's true for all of us. And she got along with Angela worse than I do. This was difficult to imagine, but it was very interesting indeed. Why is that? It's actually a bit funny. I remember them getting along very well, to be honest. They were friendly at one point, but I mostly remember them clashing. So Hedwig, I mentioned to you before that Catherine II loved foisting projects and hobbies on us. I remember. Well, for a while it was... Should we say this? For a while it was bawdy literature. Bawdy... what? Fabliaux, as it were. You mean... love poems? Romantic writing? No. Well, perhaps. Have you really never read any? I'm afraid I had nothing quite so... ribald in myself. They can certainly be romantic, although I think they are more concerned with the... fruits of romance. A particular part of romance. The intercourse. The fucking. I nearly choked on the bit of lamb I was eating. You were all reading that sort of thing here? Oh dear. Her wheels are coming off. It's really quite common for monks to write this sort of thing. It helps ease tensions, I suppose. And Catherine II thought, why not us? It might be a healthy exercise. For what purpose? For the fun of it. Purely for the thrill. God knows we're not allowed to have any fun here. That's not true. Not that kind. Hedwig dearie, it really is not that strange. After a few more weeks here, you'll probably realize just how little there is to do. It was something new and entertaining the girls were interested in. I understand. Yes, we've studied a bit of the Bible here and there actually. Sorry, I just don't see how writing that sort of thing is appropriate for women of our station. The sisters all looked at each other with slightly concerned expressions. The confidence I had brought into the room with me was rapidly draining. I felt like I had accidentally cast myself as an outsider to be scorned once again. Well, we endeavored to keep most of it in here. It is the Misericorde after all. We're eating red meat. The rule of St. Benedict might wane in here, but this sounds more like purely biblical instructions being broken. Hedwig, the gentlest and most pious monk I've ever had the pleasure of working with years and years ago now, used to write beer recipes in the margins in his Bibles. And I remember meeting him for the first time delivering food to a village that had come down with the plague. He told the most outrageous jokes I'd ever heard in my life, and I could hardly walk from laughing. All while risking ourselves to help the deceased and dying. Do we deserve hell for a few bawdy japes? Well, this is not an argument worth having. It depends on the jokes, I would think. Everyone else laughed. I was stunned by Catherine's ability to say the exact words I wanted to say with the exact opposite meaning. Tell us one. Yes, go on. Well, alright. As long as Hedwig is quite alright with it. I smiled meaninglessly. I felt like a bear showing off my teeth. Please, don't hold back on my account. A trial by fire for dear Hedwig. Very well, here it is. He told me about a nun he had worked with before who had been a midwife, much like myself. Before she joined their convent, she had been assisting her lady with a particularly tough birth. The poor thing just could not get out. The midwife took a look between her lady's legs, and the lady said, "Oh, what if it comes out the other hole?" I forget which road my husband took. The others erupted in raucous laughter. Catherine was practically doubled over. I don't get it. Think about it. What do roads have to do with it? Babes typically come out of the you-know. Yes, that much I know, thank you. I actually wasn't sure you would, so that's a relief. Is that in the Bible? I am capable of a fair amount of deduction on my own. A long time in a cell, but I'm not a complete fool. That's fair, that's fair. So you know a rough outline of how it all works. Yes. Well, there you go then. All the pieces are within your grasp. Oh no. She got there. How does that... Why? How does that work? No, that's the joke. So the joke is that her husband was quite stupid and, well, or... That's very possible, but that's not the thrust of it, no. Think harder, Sister Hedwig. I was rescued by the sound of the door swinging open. Found her. Hello, everyone. You lot ate all the while I was gone? There's still plenty of food. What took you so long? Couldn't find her. Sorry for giving you the runaround. I ran into Darcy and was chatting with her, and then I went for a walk in the garden. Could Angela not make it? She got her fill of the attention she wanted. Let's not get back into it. No, I could talk about it all night. That's the problem. Fair enough. Well, now that we're back to fighting strength, what to do? Should we play a game? I would love to play some chess. Later. I'm not feeling particularly strategic yet. She reached for the wineskin and poured herself a generous refill. I'll get there, I'm sure. Well, since Angela isn't here to complain about them any longer, how about some ghost stories? You'll like that, Hedwig. Right. While navigating through my personal doldrums for the past few days, I had completely forgotten what my reputation among the sisters currently was. Not only was I a mousy, prudish, trembling little creature, an estimation I could at least agree with, I had stumbled into giving off the impression of a spirit-chasing prankster. It did not suit me. Oh well, I don't know. They give me the shivers. That's the point. Precisely. I'll tell you my story. Oh, must we talk about this? I was hoping we could all talk about something a little more fun. Oh, but this is fun. Oh dear. It was just this summer that I decided to take in some fresh air atop the Abbey wall. I wandered through halls I was not familiar with, trying to find the stairs. All alone in a mysterious portion of this abbey, I found the door I was looking for. When I saw the tail end of another's robe in front of me, I pursued the unknown figure, but when I emerged into the light of day, there was not a soul to be seen. Huh? Fascinating. And this was in broad daylight? Maybe the sun blinded you. This does seem a touch flimsy. I know what I saw. At first a person was there, and then that person was not there. That's a terrible ghost story. Oh, is it? Then perhaps you would like to share a better one. Sure, I've got one. I saw someone outside the Superior's window late at night. That's all, I guess. There was no one else in the room. Just a creepy figure in the bushes. Does that really count as a story? It absolutely does not. No panache whatsoever. Oh, I forgot to mention that they had horns and really scary glowing eyes. Oh no! That's a little scarier. Maybe build a little suspense first though. Whatever. I think adding those details just makes the story more unbelievable. Why were you in the spirit's office at night, Flora? Yeah, speaking of unbelievable details, that door locks tight. And how would you know that? Look, she took my charcoal away because I was scribbling with it during service, okay? Enough. Let me weave you all a tale of true terror. Look out, everyone, she's gonna tell us how old she really is. Flora, be nice. Some of us were saving the exact joke for whenever Charity spoke up next. Now, I'm not too proud to be honest about my age. I'm 65 and quite happy with my station. Of course. Well, I can always wait until Marta tries to tell a ghost story. We have a rough estimate for her at least. Marta was probably there when the white ship sank. Everyone else guffawed. I might have joined in to be nakedly truthful. But now my tale. I was approaching these very doors late one night. I had been for a nighttime stroll and torches had just been lit. The wind was such that they kept flickering. It was difficult to see and strange shadows danced across the floor. Suddenly, I realized that one of the shadows in front of me was no shadow at all. And not only that, I swear to you that when I bravely took one step forward, I saw the face of death himself. Well, have I sufficiently rattled you all? Not bad. Masterful, Sister Catherine. I cannot pretend otherwise. When was this, Catherine? Oh, I don't know the exact date. A month perhaps? 2 months ago? That might have been me. What? Impossible. I do seem to remember running into you in the hall one night when the torches were flickering in the wind like that. If that is true. Why didn't you say hello? I tried, but you had already run away. Oh, fancy that. Ho ho ho. That's not... No, I think this was probably a different night. Well, that's the most believable one yet. Aside from mine. You've been a bit quiet, Hedwig. Do you have a good one to share? Yo, that thing flashed back so fast. I could barely pick up on it. Me? Oh no, well, I've just been so captivated by all of yours so far. Hedwig's ghost story is one I won't soon forget, though. She conjures up quite an image. An excellent skill for a chronicler. Too right. It's nothing, really. I hope none of them have read any of my actual decidedly sparse writing yet. Well, if Hedwig is passing Margaret? Hedwig's heard mine. I was helping clean up in the kitchen one evening. Darcy had finished up, but there was this pot I wanted to give another good scoring before putting it away. Scouring, sorry. So there I was all alone in the workshop, when I heard a strange sound. The light had started to fade and I hadn't thought to bring a candle. The fading light of dusk through the window was all I had. I crept towards where I thought I had heard the sound. Oh, what is that I'm looking at? There's 4 pairs of eyes right now, one with teeth. I mean, look at this one over here. I don't like this one, and I don't like this one. Not only that, there was another creature present as well. One with terrible visage. All I could make out was a hideous maw and some truly evil eyes. I hightailed it out of there, I have to confess. Goodness, that is an upsetting story. In the kitchen? Crumbs? I frowned. Margaret had told me a variation of this story in the chapel. It seemed to be gathering some embellishments for this larger audience. What do you think you saw? Well, if I had to hazard a guess, perhaps 2 demons having a meeting of some sort. A meeting? What about? I don't know. Perhaps they were arguing about who to eat first. Ah, no! How gruesome. Now you're having it on. Maybe. But I did see them. That much is true. The one with the big horrible teeth? That could have been a Bargus. A what? The big dog? That's the one. Although, dog isn't quite an apt description. It's a truly terrible creature that haunts old fields and old moors. Always stalking around haunting people who wander late at night. It's not quite a hound, more of a... I don't rightly know. A mix of a dog and a goblin, perhaps? Like something out of Inferno. I can only hope you didn't get a good look at it, Margaret. And why is that? Well, they say if you see him, you're destined to die. I like how everyone went silent on that one. Well, I'm not worried. No? Why is that? Because I made it all up, you daft old bat. My eyebrows had shot straight up, but Charity didn't seem to mind. The whole room erupted with cackling. Oh, the cheek on you lot. That counts as your ghost story, I take it. Of course it does. It was very effective. My goodness. I suppose that means it's Mara's turn. Oh, really? Well, I'd have to think. Something often said before believable stories. Look who's talking. I've been waiting for an opportunity to jump into the conversation more actively. I've been worried that my relative silence was conspicuous. The banter between the sisters had been so acerbic that I thought my contribution would fit right in. Unfortunately, it seemed I had missed the mark. Huh? Because, you know, yours was really short and... Okay. She may as well have slugged me in the gullet. I looked around the others who seemed to have barely registered our exchange at all. Presumably, they were all opting to remember this embarrassing outburst forever, something to gossip about the way they had about Angela earlier. I was often unsure about who I was exactly without the purpose defined by myself. As an anchoress, I knew exactly what I was meant to do where I fit into the world. Removed from the cell, I was utterly blind. I tried new attitudes and mimic behaviors to find something that fit me. But all I could hope to amount to was being someone else's private joke. I do have a good story to tell, actually. I think it might count. Oh, do tell. Well, one night, I was walking past the cloister, and a little bit of gravel worked its way into my shoe. Terrifying. Let the woman finish, Flora. It's no problem. I stopped to fish the little rock out of my shoe. I leaned against the wall, and when I looked down, I realized that there were some odd footprints along the path. Odd? How? Well, they were not human footprints. They were small and pointed. Pointed? Yes, like hooves. Anyway, the footprints continued away from the cloister. I made to follow them, but then I saw a strange figure hunched in the doorway. He turned around, his eyes flashed in the moonlight. I was scared witless and ran all the way up the stairs to my room. So then that means she can corroborate my story because when I saw the freaking night dude, he was chopping the head off a freaking goat. And the goat had hooves. Hence the footprints. Moira, back me up. Creepy. How strange. Dusty does occasionally bring the sheep up to the cloister to keep the grass short, though. Oh, right, there's sheep too. Son of a... But then she also said she saw the hunched figure. It could be the night. The Dark Knight or whatever. Not to be confused with Batman. Another Dark Knight, though. There was one set of footprints. Maybe they walk single file. Maybe. That's probably it. Don't let a little gremlin get to you, Moira. It was a fine story. I know it wasn't very, well, gripping, but... Well, how delightfully frightful that was. Everyone raised their cups. I followed suit, although I could not keep up with the others when they proceeded to chug the contents of their drink. Here, here. Captain, would you mind topping me up? We continued to eat, chat, and drink for a long while. The food was delicious. The wine did a decent job of making me feel warm and pleasant enough to set any worries about my conversational skills aside, too. What was starting to worry me, however, was the matter of how to approach Catherine about James the stable boy without raising any suspicions. I would quite like to play a game. No, thank you. Papa, you cheat anyway. Hedwig, I forget. Do you know how to play? Oh, against my better judgment, I gambled. I have been learning, now that you mention it. The superior has been teaching me. Ooh, has she now? Lucky you. Well, I think it's a way of acclimating me to things outside the cell. Everyone here talks about chess so much. More than likely, it's her mea culpa for dragging you out there. I tried to remain calm, but I was gripping my seat so hard I could hear my fingers pop. No, it was my decision to leave. Oh? I just felt it was the right thing to do. The superior explained to me that the Abbey was in desperate need of a chronicler, and that this would be much quicker than sending word around the country. So deep down, you always wanted out of that horrible little cell? It wasn't horrible. I had to correct myself immediately. I had to stick to my story. But yes, I suppose I did. I understand that to most people, lying comes easily. People do it to stay out of trouble, or to make themselves look stronger or wiser or more interesting to each other. It is a sin, but such is the way of this wicked world. But you must understand that when I was an anchoress, I told a single lie. Here, in the Misericorde, committed to the superior's conspiracy. Every falsehood felt like I was spitting out burr out of my mouth. I'm honestly surprised no black ball came out of her mouth again. You were quite a mess when I first saw you in there. Well, I wasn't dressing for an audience then, was I? Everyone chuckled. I was quickly learning that making people laugh was the fastest way to steer them away from topics I didn't want to talk about. Your frock is still a bit big for you, I have to say. I think it looks nice. She looks cozy all the time. So, Hedwig, chess? Go on then. Adela beamed at me and got up to retrieve the chessboard and pieces from the shelf. The still ample platter of meat was pushed to the side of the table to make space. One of the wineskins came dangerously close to falling to the floor before Catherine caught it. That'd be a waste. 2, right? Top me up. The board was set up, save for 2 pieces. Adela approached me with her hands balled up in fists and held them out to me. Which hand? Why not just let her go first? Give her the white pieces, she's new here and our guest to boot. Nonsense. This is part of the game. Let's see. Your right hand. Adela opened her right hand to reveal a black pawn nestled in her palm. Black it is. Ooh, unlucky. Not at all. Someone must strike first, but that is not necessarily an advantage. When Kerboga struck first at Antioch, he still tasted defeat. Yes, of course. How could any of us forget Kerboga? Shikwam, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right. Shiwam al-Dala Kerboga rode to Antioch with his men after hearing a Christian siege. Wait, so didn't the Christians go first then? I think we're dividing very specific battles up into individual chess games here.